Welcome to my live. I just want to do a quick live because there's something we need to discuss, and I just thought I will just come live. That way I don't have to edit the video. Okay, first of all, I want to say I have a cold, so I might sound different. I've been fighting a cold for the last 1 week. It's been really bad. But anyway, so yesterday I went live on TikTok for a short time. I actually wasn't feeling well, but I was like, let me just open it because people do come and sit in the guest box and they just have discussions. So I was like, let me just open it in case they want to join and they just want to have a discussion, then they can discuss. So while we were sitting there, just, we were just like freestyling. We didn't have like any particular, I would say, topic. Somebody talked about the issue of dowry. Now, when it comes to international and intercultural dating, dowry is a hi Esther, welcome. Dowry is a big thing because a lot of people don't understand the concept of dowry. Okay, and depending on how you bring it up, it can actually make or break your relationship. I know so many girls who have actually broken up with their boyfriends because of dowry. Okay, they reach to that point. I won't even say boyfriend, I will say fiance, because somebody has already, you guys are already talking about marriage. Because if you start discussing dowry, it means you are talking about marriage. Okay, now you have to be very gentle when you're introducing this issue of dowry. And there's a lady who posted a video, I think the day before yesterday, and I saw that video and she was talking about dowry. Now, I went to the comment section of that video and I could see a lot of our girls, they were talking with a lot of passion, and they were so aggressive about this dowry thing and saying, well, if he's not gonna pay dowry, how can I claim that I'm married if he didn't pay dowry? So I was like, the thing is, this person is not from your culture, okay? And if indeed he says he's not going to pay dowry, then it's really up to you to decide whether you want to continue with this relationship or not. If dowry is a deal breaker for you, actually, I think you should just give up on this whole intercultural, international dating. You should give up on it, because most people, you are going to have like back and forth when it comes to dowry. Okay, as I said, it depends on how you introduce this whole concept. If you're gonna go with it like going to him forcefully about you must pay dowry and this is our culture and you must do it, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to go wrong. And another thing is, the reason why I actually opened this live is somebody who, it is actually somebody who left a comment saying, I'm gonna ask my parents how much they want for dowry. Big mistake. Big mistake. Because in a lot of tribes, let's say in Kenya, I always talk about Kenya. In a lot of tribes, when it comes to dowry, it's not just about your parents, okay? It's not about your parents. It's not just your parents that are going to receive this dowry. In a lot of tribes, it's the uncles, and I don't know if the grandmother is still with us, then she's going to get some. And it's this whole, it's a bunch of people who are going to get this dowry. And therefore, you are getting so many people involved in this, and this money is not from your culture. Okay, and also there is the issue of the traditions that we follow in terms of dowry, where maybe you bring your fiance and then he's gonna be left in the room with these people, your people. Okay, and I have talked about this before in a video. You leave him there he doesn't know what is going on. He's not a part of your culture, so he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand these negotiations and all that. So he feels like he's buying a human being, and he most probably doesn't want to do that, especially, and I have told you guys, if you're dating men from the US, from the UK, in fact, if you're dating men from Europe and from the US, they're not going to feel comfortable going to Africa and it looking like they're buying a human being. Guys, it's not gonna go well. Okay, so you're leaving this guy with your people, and he's there. If he's from Europe, he probably doesn't speak very good English. Your people, maybe some of the people who are doing the negotiations, they probably don't speak very good English. So now they're there and they're just arguing. The next thing you know, your fiance is walking out and calling your driver or however he got there, and he's gone. So be gentle when it comes to this thing. Be gentle when it comes to introducing dowry. And do not go, please, do not go asking your people how much money they want, how much dowry they want. Because if you do that and they know you are marrying a foreigner, first of all, we still have this thing where we think, people from certain parts of the world, they have a lot of money. We still have this myth that we have about, people are spending money that was left by their great grandmothers. They haven't even started spending money that they are making. Guys, that is a myth. It's not true. Okay? It is not true. So you as a lady, you're the one who know how much you and your guy can afford to give as dowry. Okay, you don't want to give dowry and then you go back to, I don't know, to the US, to Europe, and then you're going now, taking up a loan because you cannot survive because you gave all your money to your people in the form of dowry. Okay, so this whole dowry thing, it's very sensitive. Okay, and I know a lot of people get offended when I say it's not a must that he pays dowry, because first of all, he's not from your culture. You're the one who decided to go and marry outside your culture. And I know we beat our chest and we say he must respect my culture. He knows I'm an African. He knows I'm this. Yes, he knows, but you also know he's an American, and you know he's a European. You know he's a German. You know he's a I don't know, a Norwegian. He's a Canadian. But you don't want to know that. You just want him to know that you're an African, and he must respect your culture. How about we look at his culture? This is something, again, I have mentioned before. A lot of these people, it's actually the woman who used to bring the dowry. That you don't want to hear. He must respect your African culture. If you go there forcefully and beating your chest and all this, and you're just gonna lose your relationship. And he's probably not a bad guy. In most cases, is how you introduce this whole dowry thing. You people go there so forcefully and you're force feeding your culture to this guy, and he must. And then in the end, he's like, no, I don't have to. I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't want to buy a human being. I just wanted a wife. I just wanted to get married and build a home, and that's all I wanted. I didn't go to Africa to buy a human being. So just introduce to it. I know a lot of European men who have paid dowry. I know a lot of American guys who have paid dowry, and they actually want to get involved in that whole ceremony and that whole, the whole cultural thing. But I also know some who are not comfortable at all, especially when there is this money exchange and negotiations. No, you must give, 300,000, you must give 500,000, you must give 1 million Kenya shillings, you must give 2 million Kenya shillings. And the thing with this whole dowry when it comes to intercultural marriages, it's a scam. People use it as a scam to scam people. And I know a lot of people get offended when I say that, but it's true. It is true. A lot of us Africans, we use this whole dowry thing to scam foreign men. Okay, a man comes and then you're telling him, my family wants 5 million shillings. You know very well if it was an African man, they wouldn't have asked for 5 million shillings. And they're probably not asking for 5 million shillings. They're probably asking for 200,000, but you want him to pay more because you want to scam him. So this whole dowry thing, if you're genuine, okay, if you're genuine, you're in a genuine relationship, you're not there to scam anyone, you're not there to try and get somebody to just give money to your family for no reason whatsoever, and then you go there in your marriage, you're struggling, you can't afford to pay things that need to be paid because all the money was left back in Africa. Just do things the right way. Whether it's a foreign guy or an African guy, just do things the right way. The amount that is supposed to be paid in terms of dowry, just let them pay what is supposed to be paid if they agree to pay. And if they don't, my sister, we are Africans. We are clever. Okay? Even if he doesn't, somehow it will be paid. It will be paid, my sister. And I don't think you should hold this against him, especially depending on how you are introducing the issue. You're going there with an attitude. You're going there, you must respect me. You must respect my culture. You cannot get me out of my family for free. That is the wrong language you are using right there to begin with. Telling him, you cannot get me out of my parents' house for free. So he's buying you. You are actually telling him that he's buying you from your parents. That is not going to sit well with him. It's not. Okay? Use terms like a token of appreciation, you know. Hi, Kate. Welcome, welcome. I wasn't going to go live, but I thought I'll just go live for a few minutes instead of making a video because I was like, I didn't feel like editing a video, so... Now, Kate, yesterday you were in our live when we were talking about dowry. That's the issue. I thought I'd bring it here so my YouTube people can also benefit from the discussion we had yesterday. So I feel like if you go there with an attitude, you're dating somebody who is not familiar with your culture, okay? You guys love each other, you have agreed to get married, everything is going well, but now the issue of dowry, and there are people, every time you introduce the issue of dowry, you find this couple is always having a fight. They are always disagreeing, okay? Because you want him to see things your way and he wants you to see things his way. So now you end up fighting. And you're fighting for nothing. You're fighting for nothing, my sister. You're jeopardizing your relationship for nothing. Because, okay, I am not saying that dowry is not important. Of course, it depends. Some people find it very important. They will not get married unless he gives dowry. Okay, fine. Then, okay, good for you. But then there are some who are they're like, okay, let's get married and then we'll sort things out later. But let me ask you a question. How many people in your family that you know that are married, they have children, the children have even finished high school, they probably have even finished college, and they have never given dowry to your parents? They have never taken dowry. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. They have never paid dowry and they have been living with your relative for 20, 25, 30 years. But when it comes to a mzungu, no. You people cannot get married until you bring dowry. If you don't bring dowry, you don't get blessings. Your marriage is cursed. That is a lie. That is a scam. You know, these words we use, you know, to inflict fear in people. It's just, do you know, and this is something we have discussed here before, do you know why people are so brainwashed by religion? It's because of fear. Okay? It's because of fear. And towards the end of this live, I'm going to address something I saw on TikTok. A preacher, a Kenyan preacher, who says something that is so offensive you won't believe it. Anyway, So now with this dowry thing, they start talking about cars and I don't know, bad things will happen to you if you go to Europe without paying dowry, if you go to America without paying dowry, and I don't know what will happen to you, and I don't know, things will happen to your children. And the thing is, it's just, they're just, they want you to operate from fear. So now you are being held hostage because of this dowry. And in your family, there are people, as I said, their children have finished college. I'm saying that because in my family, there are people who have done that. And I know in your family, there are people who have done that. In Uganda, in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya, in Rwanda, in Lesotho. There are people in these African countries who take women and they stay with those women. They have children with those women. They take the children to school. The children finish college. The children now want to get married. See, this is where it gets interesting. Now the children want to get married. That's when they remember, now our daughter wants to bring dowry. We must now go back to your family and see what is happening there, because now we cannot take this dowry because we never took dowry over there, because that's how it works. I'm sure that's how it works all over Africa. If you don't take the dowry to your wife's family, then you cannot receive dowry from your daughter. That dowry then needs to go there. And let me tell you what happens. If your daughter, let's say, for example, your daughter is getting married to a rich guy, or let's say in this case, what we talk about here, maybe she's getting married to an American guy, suddenly now you don't want that dowry to go there because you know it's going to be a lot, or you're going to claim a lot. Suddenly you're like, you start hiding. You don't want them to know that your daughter is getting married to an American guy. You hide because you don't want them to refuse the dowry that you're going to give. Because if they find out, they're going to refuse because they're going to wait for the dowry that the daughter is going to bring. This is how things work in Africa, guys. So we have so many families where people have lived together for 20 years, 30 years. They have never taken dowry to the family of the wife. But when it comes to a girl who is getting married to an American guy or a European guy, the marriage cannot take place. You must bring dowry first. My sister, be clever. You are the one who comes on those dating sites day in, day out, looking for this guy. And then, when you find him now, you are giving him attitude about dowry. You're giving him attitude about dowry. This sister who posted the video yesterday, I usually don't agree with her, but in this case, I agreed with her with that video. She said, if dowry is the only problem you have in this relationship, this intercultural, interracial, international relationship, if dowry is the only problems you're having, everything else is okay with the relationship, let it go. Let it go. And I am not saying you let it go that you will never give your parents anything. That's not what I'm saying. But I do agree with that, letting it go for now. I do agree with letting it go for now. My sister, let's analyze this. You meet this guy, this American guy. You guys vibe, you meet on dating sites, because here we talk about online dating. You vibe, you connect, you build a relationship, you fall in love. He comes, he sees you, he proposes to you. He either he comes and marries you in your country, or maybe he starts the fiance visa process, and now you're not going to travel to the US because he hasn't paid dowry. Mind you, if you travel to the US, this guy is the one who has facilitated this move. Because without him, why didn't you go to the US by yourself? You wouldn't have gone, because all this time you didn't go. So you are going now because he has facilitated that move. And it's a good thing. I know we have talked about you're sacrificing your family, your friends and everything, and all that. But then again, being in the US is also a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You have a husband. This is how it has always been anyway. Even if you get married in Kenya, let's say you are from Eldoret, and you get married to a guy who is from Nyeri, you're going to move to Nyeri anyway. That's how it works. You move to where your husband is from. So in this case, you are moving to the US. So you go to the US. This is where I'm saying we need to analyze this. You move to the US or to Europe, to a country in Europe. You get there. You adjust, you find a job, or you go to school, or you do whatever you have to do, and then you start doing things that are going to generate you income, right? You start making money. I'm coming to the issue of where there's somebody who said, I cannot pay my own dowry. Kwani am I marrying myself? Aya, you find a job, you start making money, okay? As you're making money, of course, you, as Africans, because this is what we do, when you make money, the first thought you have is about your people back home, what's going on, your parents, your siblings, that's how it works. So you start sending money back home, right? Now, if the issue of dowry is something that is really keeping you awake at night, if it's something that is giving you a headache, you'll be able to save up that money, to save some money. We are Africans, you can even find a way to get some money from that husband. When you go back to Kenya, you'll have some money, and then you can just give that money, and then it's done. And I don't think you should feel like, why should I pay for my own dowry? Because if you analyze it, you're not actually paying for your own dowry. This man is the one who actually facilitated this whole ability of you being able to make that money. You are able to move to a country where you found a job and it's paying well. He's probably paying the bills. So especially if you find a good man who just, caters for the bills, and then he just lets you thrive and you make your own money and you help your people back home, because that's what we do. If you find that kind of man who doesn't believe in 50-50, then how are you complaining that you're paying for your own dowry? Listen, guys, this is another thing that we fight a lot on TikTok. The issue of 50-50. If you find a guy who does not bother with your money, whether you're making a lot or you're not making a lot, if you find that kind of guy, that actually, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Okay? So, if he's letting you make your own money and he's not even bothering with your money, already he has paid that dowry. Because that's the money you would have paid, you would have been paying bills, for the half of the bills. Let's say you are making 3,000 euros a month, or 2,000 euros a month, and he's not bothering with your money. He's already paid that dowry. Because in most countries in Europe, they believe in 50-50, and even in the US, they split the bills. In fact, some places you go out for dinner and you see somebody calculating to the very last cent. There's a lady who posted a video. She says she went out with a guy she had met on Tinder, and when the guy found out that they were not going home together, she was not going to his house, he started calculating to the last cent the dinner bill, what they had drunk and the food they had eaten. And actually he had eaten the most expensive food, but now they must split 50-50 the bill to the last cent. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you find a good man, and if you find somebody who doesn't believe in this whole 50-50 thing, if he's having a problem paying for your dowry, don't worry, my sister. The dowry will be paid. The dowry will be paid. But if you start, especially now in the beginning of it's still early stages of the relationship, because I don't care how many times he has come to see you in Kenya, or on Uganda, or Tanzania, or Nigeria, Rwanda. It doesn't matter how many times he has come to see you. It's still the early stages of the relationship. I told you, you'll only get to know somebody when it comes to these long distance relationships. You'll only get to know somebody fully once you start living with that person. Because he comes, as I keep saying, he's on holiday mood. You're on holiday, everything is relaxed. So you don't really get to see how he is on his daily life, my sister. So this is still early stage of the relationship, and now you're coming with your attitude about dowry and about how he must respect your culture because you're moving to his country and you're gonna go and live in his country, and as if he's not an idiot. He knows you want to move to his country. Come on now, let's be honest here. He knows you want to move to his country. But now you're starting to make it look like, oh, I'm moving to your country, I'm coming to learn your language, I'm coming to learn a new culture, therefore you must first pay this dowry and respect my culture. Must. No. In my opinion, no. It's not a must. It's not. Yes, of course, it will be so nice, and it will be like it's really nice for those guys who don't fight it. There are some guys who are like, okay, what do I need? What do I need to do? What is the process? How much is it going to cost? And this is now where it comes when he asks you, how much is it going to cost? This is when now the title of my life comes in. You should not go and ask your family how much they want. You should not. Because I'm sure by this time you have already discussed your budgets and you know how much money he makes from his job, or how much money he has, or how much he can afford to spare for this. Obviously, there are other expenses. There will be a wedding. Once you pay the dowry, there will be a wedding that will take place. There will be the visa process that we have talked about before. And all this is money. Everything I'm mentioning here is money. Visa process, the visa applications, the wedding, everything. It's money. And guess who is going to pay for all that? It's the guy who is expected to pay for all that. So you are squeezing him and squeezing him and squeezing him. Be clever, be wise. Know how much he can spare for now, and then that's it. And don't make a mistake of telling your family that he'll come and pay later. Don't do that. Because once you do that, it will never end, ever. Never do that. Never say, oh, we are giving you 50,000 shillings now, and then we'll come later. No. Whatever that will come later, it's just an additional token of appreciation. But don't make it into that it's written down that you have paid half of the dowry and then the rest of the dowry will be paid later. Don't do that. It will never end. Ever. And of course, when you go back to his country, you'll always be thinking, oh my God, we didn't finish paying the dowry. And then depending on how the marriage goes, oh my goodness, depending on how the marriage goes, keep in mind this person doesn't understand. It doesn't fully comprehend the concept of dowry. So he's gonna be telling his friends that he took you on credit and he's gonna pay the rest when he goes back. Your family is still demanding that he pays more money for you. Hey, you guys. Then you'll find others who will be talking about they got papers on you, they bought you. Oh my goodness. In fact, I feel like it's better if nothing is exchanged. Like you don't have that whole ceremony thing. Yes, you'll do whatever needs to be done. You as an African lady, you know how we do things and you know what needs to be done. But this whole ceremony thing, in some cases, I think it's better it doesn't take place. Because there will be pictures and everything and he's going to be showing his friends, oh look, this is when I was buying my wife. And you're going to be so offended. and he's not gonna stop. And some of them, they have these dry jokes that are so offensive, and you keep, you're like, don't say that, like, don't say that. And some of them, they don't listen. You keep saying, don't say that, and then they just, the next time you go somewhere to meet with friends, he's saying the same thing. So, the purpose of this live was just to caution you against asking your family how much they want for the dowry, okay? And the next thing I just wanted to suggest that you don't push and you don't adopt this attitude where you're so forceful with this dowry issue, knowing very well you are marrying outside your culture. If you really want to push on this dowry issue, then marry within your culture. Then there will be no fights about dowry or anything, because both of you are from the same culture. Therefore, you understand each other and you know what needs to be done. But now, when you're outside your culture and you're using this attitude and this force, it's only going to affect your relationship. Okay, and as I said, we know so many people in our own families that haven't paid that dowry, and they are still living, and they had children, and they are building their houses, and they are doing big things, and they haven't paid dowry. So, if dowry, as our sister said on that video I watched on TikTok, if dowry is the only issue you have in this intercultural relationship, my sister, let it go. Nothing will happen. The money is not from your culture anyway. Nothing will happen. Just let it go for now. I'm not saying let it go forever if it's your thing, if you really feel strongly about dowry. But let it go for now. Just go to your Sharia house and get married. Go to the registry and have your marriage certificate and have the ball rolling, the visa process rolling, and whatever it is that you guys need to do. The whole thing is about you being happy, the two of you loving each other, the two of you having a peaceful life. And you will have a peaceful life, and you will pay that dowry. If it must be paid, it will be paid. Okay? It will be paid. But right now, when you have so many expenses, when you really don't know each other that well, to be honest. What, you've only been communicating online, and now he has come to see you, so now it's a bit fragile. The relationship is still fragile, guys. So that's all I wanted to say today. But I also want to mention a video I watched, and this video was it was so traumatizing to see a whole preacher. It's one of those preachers we have in Kenya who think they're big shots and they're superstars of the religion leaders. I don't know. Anyway, so this guy, he has always been controversial. You always see his videos, and he has always been controversial. But I don't think he has gone this far. Okay, the videos I have seen in the past, I don't think he has gone this far, but I think this time he went too far. So he's talking about how we as women, we apply a lot of makeup, and we are trying to beautify ourselves, and then he said even after we do that, nobody is interested in us. But now the part that really pissed me off is the part where he made fun about the R word. I cannot say the word here, of course, but he said, well, you try to beautify yourself, you're spending hours, countless hours in front of the mirror applying makeup, and even after you do all that, nobody is interested in you, nobody is, meaning men, right? Men are not interested in you, they are not even saying anything to you, nobody even wants to R-word you, other women are being R-worded there, but nobody even wants to R-word you. And I'm like, how are we making jokes about this? And he's there now looking at and that congregation, there's something wrong with those people who go to that church. So he's looking at them now that they should laugh because of this wonderful joke that he has told the church. a while back, I don't know how many years, quite a while back, many years ago, we had this leader. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know if he's still with us or not. And there was an issue of women, being, gender-based violence and R word, in Kenya. It was so bad that people are actually protesting. Okay, even now, right now, there are people who are protesting. There's a lot of gender-based violence, there's femicide, there's a lot of things that are happening right now in Kenya. In fact, just last week or the week before, women were out in the streets protesting. So anyway, this leader I'm talking about, there were a lot of protests and people are, of course, very angry about what was happening in the country. And this guy said, there is no such thing as R word. Because if you take a needle and you try to put a thread through the needle, if you keep moving the needle, the thread will not go through the needle. That's the example he gave. So he said there is no such thing as R word. Nobody, those things don't happen to people if they don't want. So this preacher, that's what he reminded me of when he was making fun of this. And I'm like, these older men, if they cannot take this seriously, what are they teaching the young men? That church, in fact, the camera, if you look at that video, if you have come across that video on TikTok, I don't know if it's here on YouTube, if you look at the camera, it's actually focused on young men. So he's talking, I don't know whether the cameraman focused the camera purposely on those men. I don't know, but the camera is actually focused on young men. So I'm thinking, this is an old man. He's a leader. He's a religious leader. And of course, in Kenya, we are so brainwashed. We look at these religious leaders as if they're, I don't know, demigods or something. So now, what is he teaching these young men? What is he saying to them? So he's saying to them, it's okay to see a beautiful woman. If you see a beautiful woman, you can just go and R-word them and it's okay? Because you are saying the women who are not beautiful, nobody wants to even R-word them, So you have a problem. In the end, he said in the video, he said, you have a problem. Because nobody even wants to R-word you. This is so, like, I was like, oh my God. If these are the people that we expect to guide our young men and show them the right way and talk to them about, toxic power and exercising and taking power from people, because this act, people don't understand what it entails. People don't understand, and especially men. And now I have realized, actually, young men understand more than older men, because in that comment section, I went through the comment section, like the video is going viral, so it's got lots of comments, and you could see young men, like I would go to somebody's profile. Once I see a comment, I would go to somebody's profile, and you find it's a young man. If you look at his face, you would think maybe between 20. Just there between 20 and 25, somebody who is very young, and that is the person who is condemning that video and saying this is wrong and you shouldn't be talking like this as an older gentleman, as a religious leader. You shouldn't be spreading this kind of message, and you shouldn't be making jokes about this kind of serious thing. So I'm like, these older men, it's like they will never understand the impact, the negative impact this kind of act can make on somebody's life. And it's so unfortunate. Like, I was so sad, and like I was so sad when I watched that video. I was like, this is somebody who is, when things go wrong, even if he was not a religious leader, if he was just an elder in the community, it's somebody who, if something goes wrong, is the one who should be called to give guidance. What kind of guidance can you get from this kind of person? What? And I'm like, what future do women have if these are the people that they expect to protect them? Leaders, religious leaders, our elders who are supposed to give us counsel and give counsel to young men are the ones who are making fun about the R word. So that means if a young woman goes to this preacher and says, oh, pastor, this has happened to me, so he's gonna say, well, it happened to you because you are beautiful. So yeah. Is that what he's gonna do? Like, this is so sad. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing from this man. Like, I'm like, so he's a father of daughters. He's probably a grandfather of daughters. He's an uncle. He's I don't know, he's a brother to women. He's got women in his family. Is this what he thinks of women in his family? That somebody can just go and grab a woman and will just say it's because you're beautiful. So it seems like, oh my God, I don't even want to continue with this discussion. Guys, thank you so much for coming to my live. I just wanted to do a quick live here and talk about dowry, and of course touch a bit on that video. I will try to make videos the coming week. This week I've been really sick. I haven't been feeling well. I think I only released one video on Monday, and then on Tuesday I was in hospital, so I haven't been feeling well the whole week. But God willing, next week we are back full force. Also, I want to mention the issue of TikTok being banned in the US. Now the Americans have left us. I hope they are going to come and follow me here on YouTube. Well, it's really weird, to be honest. It's quite weird. Then they have gone to this app called Red Note, and it's really funny. The content that is coming from Red Note is quite interesting, but I think TikTok will come back to the US. I think it will come back. I don't think they can afford to actually lose that app in the US. It's bringing a lot of money, it's bringing a lot of money to the US. Also, I feel like it's so unfortunate because there are so many small businesses that depend on TikTok, so many small American businesses that depend on TikTok. Many actually started on TikTok, so I hope it will come back. But if it doesn't, then TikTok needs to put all of us on Creator Fund, so we can make money that the Americans were making, but we shall see about that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining my live today. I shall try to release new content in the coming week, and I wish you happy new week. May it be productive for you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I shall see you on my next one. Bye bye, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.